me take you to flight school. We'll learn to fly. Ooh, let me take you to flight school.
Hey there everybody, and welcome back. So last time we left off, we had arrived here at San Francisco International Airport from Seattle with the intentions of heading out to YSSY or Sydney. However, I decided to add another leg in here on our road to Sydney, and tonight we'll be taking in a nighttime flight from here at San Francisco International Airport on over to Los Angeles International Airport, or KLAX. Another thing that will make this flight interesting is that we will be adhering to the noise abatement procedures, also known as the Quiet or Whisper program, that has been instilled by the City of San Francisco and the San Francisco International Airport Authority. The reason that there are noise abatement procedures here at San Francisco International Airport are very simple. As you look around, you'll see that the airport is surrounded by a whole lot of folks who live in or around the immediate vicinity from the airport itself. And because of that, and the fact that San Francisco International Airport takes in flights pretty much 24 hours a day, the airport authority wanted to ensure that the inhabitants around the airport had a area to live in that did not have a lot of noise pollution from the traffic from the airport. So because of that, there are some specialized departures and SIDs that need to be followed by aircraft that are departing between certain hours in the evening. And I'll show you guys what those procedures look like as we get ready to depart. Now today we'll find ourselves over here at the Alpha gates, and we'll be specifically at gate Alpha 2. We'll be flying a PMDG 737-900, and we'll be flying in the United Eco Skies livery. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get on into our aircraft and go ahead and get our flight started. Alright, so here we are inside the cockpit of our Boeing 737-900. And before we start loading our passengers on safely, we're going to go ahead and set up a couple of things in the cockpit. So first of all, let's go ahead and put on our dome lights here so we can see. Next up, we'll go ahead and turn on our emergency exit lights, and before we turn on our passenger seatbelt signs, we'll go ahead and load the fuel that is necessary for our flight into our aircraft. And so to do that, we're going to go ahead and go on down here to our FMC. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at our flight plan. Our flight plan is calling for 13,100 pounds of fuel. However, to ensure that we have enough for reserves and contingency, we're going to go ahead and load on 14,500 pounds. So let's go ahead and do that now. Alright, so we got our fuel on board, and now that that's on board, we can go ahead and ensure that our doors are open so our passengers can get on. So it looks like our forward door and our cargo doors are off. We're just going to cycle this entry forward door because sometimes GSX likes to think that it's closed when it really is open. Open it back up. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and put on our passenger seatbelt signs, and then we'll get the rest of the aircraft ready to go. So let's go ahead and put on our passenger seatbelt signs, and we'll begin to align our IRS. We'll also go ahead and put on our window heat, and let's go ahead and call for GSX to board us. Now, United Airlines does not have a ground crew here, so instead we're going to be using another passenger carrier's crew, and we'll use JetBlue for today. Alright, so they are on our way. I'm going to begin to board our passengers. So let's set a couple of things up on our FMC along with our MCP and our overhead as well. So if you looked at our flight plan, you'll see that our flight plan is calling for us to have a cruise altitude of 350. So let's go ahead and set that up. And we'll also go ahead and set that up on our overhead as well. Alright, now that we've done that, we'll go ahead and put our yaw dampener on. Do a quick sweep of our systems here. Go ahead and set our electrical systems to standby power. Our ground power is already connected. Our window heat on. We do not need anti-ice for today's departure. Our cruise altitude pressurization is set, our circulating fans are on to get some air through the cabin before we actually get our engine started. Packs are off, ISO valve is open, and our APU bleed is set. Go ahead and put our logo lights on. Our position lights are on. Go ahead and put the wheel well lights on as well, since we're going to have folks working underneath the aircraft. And while we're waiting for our passengers to board, we'll also go ahead and put on our left forward fuel pump. We'll start our APU so that when we're ready to push back, our APU is already started. Alright. So let's go ahead and get back here into our pilot seat. And let's go ahead and start programming our FMS. So let's get on down to our FMS and we will go ahead and start getting things set up. So first for our position, we know that we are at the reference airport of KSFO. We also know that we are at gate A2. Alright, let's go ahead and get our route. Our company route has already been set up, so we'll go ahead and select our company route from here, KSFO to KLAX. The runway that we're expecting to take, according to our flight plan, is, looks like 28 right now. Right now I actually believe that 28 right is being used for arrivals, so we're going to go ahead and select 28 left, as I believe that's the runway that ATC is using for departures right now. So we'll say 28 left. And our flight number is UAL 1263. Alright, we can go ahead and activate that. Now we'll go ahead and set our zero fuel weight. We'll say we're going to carry 2 reserves, and according to our flight plan, our cost index is 17. We know that our cruise altitude is 350. We can go ahead and execute that. Now, let's go ahead and set up our noise abatement procedural departure. So to do that, we know that we're going to be taking off from runway 28 left, at least that's what we're hoping ATC gives us. Let's go ahead and take a look at the charts here at KSFO to determine how we're going to depart. Alright, so we can clear out our stars in our terminal. And we'll also turn off general for right now, and we'll just look at our SIDs. So if you guys see the flight quiet program here, or the quiet departure, tells us a couple of things. First of all, if we're going to be taking off from the 28 runways, either left or right, you can see that 28 will take us out in this direction. Now we have really 2 options from that direction. Either D, which according to this chart says that 28 left-right straight-out departures are discouraged at all hours, so we want to avoid that. Or we also have B, which is 28 left and right depart with an immediate right turn. You can see that immediate right turn will take us out here into the bay, and then we have a choice to go straight, left, or even right. You can see what that turn looks like, and this is the area that they're trying to protect from noise pollution, so this is the area we want to turn before. So almost immediately as soon as we get off the ground, we're going to go ahead and make that right turn and climb on out. So let's take a look at what the actual SID looks like. So if we look at the Mullen 7, or quiet, or CUIT, which is their abbreviation for quiet, you can see that it'll take us out to the quiet 7 at Rebas. And then from there we have a decision as to whether we'd like to turn left or right. Now you can see that there is an immediate right turn that's available that'll take us out here to LIN, or Linden. So that's probably what we'll be doing. We'll go ahead and make that right turn, fly on over to Rebas, and then we'll take the right turn on out to Lynn, and then we'll continue on with our flight plan. So let's go ahead and set that up now. So we know we're going to be taking quiet 7, and we're going to go to Lynn. Go ahead and execute that. Now let's go ahead and check for any discontinuities, and you can see we do have one that's immediately after Lynn. eBay is where we'll be picking up afterwards, so we'll go ahead and execute that. Great, looks good to me. Now we can go ahead and set our N1 limits for our takeoff. We're going to be taking a flaps 5 departure, and while we're doing that, we'll start closing up our doors since our passengers are already loaded, as well as our baggage. The other thing that we'll do is we'll wait for us to start pushing back, and then we'll turn off our cabin lights once our flight attendants have provided the cabin with a briefing. Let's go ahead and set our CG. and we'll set our speeds. Alright, looks good to me. So, with that done now, let's go ahead and set up our V2 speed, which is going to be 151. Put on our flight director, our auto throttle, and we'll go ahead and also set our auto brakes to RTO. Alright, our APU should now be started. It is, so we'll go ahead and put on our APU power here. Make sure that both of those buses are powered. And then we'll go ahead and set our parking brake, and we'll disconnect our ground power. Alright, so everything pretty much looks good to go for right now, but before we go ahead and start pushing back, we're going to go ahead and call for clearance, and we'll also go ahead and get our ATIS briefing. So let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to tune to 12200 so that Active Sky Next gives us our briefing. Let's take a look at what it says.
Kilo, Sierra, Foxtrot, Oscar, airport information, Foxtrot 0256, Zulu, weather, wind 257, at 16, visibility 10, sky condition, few clouds at 1100, temperature 182.12, altimeter 3008, advise on initial contact, you have information, Foxtrot.
Alright, so we've got information Foxtrot, and we'll go ahead and set our altimeter to 3008 as it advised. And as you guys notice, we're actually going to be having a little bit of a headwind and crosswind coming off of our left. So we'll just have to remember that as we're lining up on the runway for departure. Let's go ahead and call for our clearance. And we'll also go ahead and call for pushback. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get ourselves ready for our taxi here. As soon as we start getting pushed back, we'll take a look at our taxi map. We're going to be taking Alpha Bravo Hotel Lima Foxtrot, if my memory serves me correct. So let's go ahead and release our parking brake. We'll go ahead and get started. We'll go on over here and we'll go ahead and turn off our wheel well lights. We'll go ahead and put on our anti-collision lights. We'll go ahead and put on all of our fuel pumps now, except for the centers, as we do not have fuel in the center, along with our electrical hydraulic pumps. And we're pretty much good to start. So packs are off and we're good to start. We'll go ahead and start with the right engine. I used to start with the left, but one of you guys on YouTube, one of our great viewers, provided me with some information that starting with the left can sometimes create hydraulic leakage issues. So we're going to go ahead and start with the right now from here on out. So let's go ahead and start with the right. And we'll put on our engine displays down here so we can monitor. We're going to wait for our N2 to reach 22, and then we'll go ahead and introduce fuel to her. Alright, and we're 20, 21, and 22. Go ahead and introduce fuel to the right engine. Now we'll just pretend that we have a co-pilot here to monitor that for us. So let's go ahead and take a look at what our taxi will be looking like today. So to do that, we'll open up our general charts here. Get rid of the SIDS, there we go. And then we'll look at AGC. Now we know that we're at Alpha 2, which is on the left-hand side of the Alpha terminal. And then we'll be able to determine what our taxi will look like. So here we are, we're on this side of Alpha. And if my memory serves me correctly, he had us going Alpha Bravo Hotel. So here's Alpha right here. We're going to go Bravo. We're going to make a left on Hotel. We're going to make a left on Bravo, and then actually going to be taking Bravo out across to bring us over to Lima. So we're going to be crossing both runway 1 right and left. I'm going to pick up Lima and then take Lima down to Foxtrot. Be a little bit of a complex taxi, but we should be okay. Alright, let's go ahead and start with our left engine now, and we'll monitor for that. Alright, and we're at 21, 22. Introduce fuel to the left engine. What we'll also do now is we'll go ahead and set up our backlighting so that when we're ready to turn off our dome light, we can still see. Circuit breaker is in PAM. Alright. And the left engine's almost there. Right starter has returned to off. So with that, the engines look stabilized, both of them do, so we'll go ahead and set them to continuous. And let's go ahead and also test our TCAS while we're out here. We'll set our parking brake as GSX has requested. So let's go ahead and switch on over to our systems page as we are about to test our flight controls.
TCAS test pass.
Now that our engines are started, we'll go ahead and put on our generators for our left and our right engine. We'll go ahead and turn off our APU. You can also go ahead and put on our left and right packs, and go ahead and put our ISO valve to auto. So we'll go ahead and put on our probe heat, and we're pretty much completely configured for taxi. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at our taxi chart one more time before we get on our way. So once again, we're going to be taking Alpha, so it looks like we'll be able to intercept Mike here. We'll go ahead and take Mike, we'll look for Alpha. We're going to be taking Alpha. Let me just look at our instructions one more time. Oops. Get ourselves out of the way of that click spot. So Alpha Bravo Hotel. Alright. So we're going to take Alpha. We're pretty much just going to cross right over Alpha. We're going to take Mike pretty much straight down to Bravo because there's really no point in making a right or left turn on Alpha. Bravo going to cross Hotel across 1 and 1 left and 1 right. We'll pick up Lima and then make a right on Foxtrot. So we'll probably have to reference that a couple of times as we continue our taxi on out. Alright, so let's go ahead and set our flaps to 5. We'll just say that our cabin has already been briefed, so we'll go ahead and turn off our cabin lights. Set our passengers in relax. And we'll go ahead and bring this on over to our legs page. Alright, our trim should be at 501, so let's go ahead and set that. We'll say that's right about there. Alright, and we'll do full left, full right. We'll do elevator back, elevator forward, and we'll go ahead and release our parking brakes. Make sure we have positive pressure there, which we do. And then we'll also go ahead and put full right rudder, full left rudder, nice and slowly so we don't rock the cabin too much. Alright, looks good to me. Go ahead and take off our systems page, and we'll go ahead and turn off our dome light. Before we do, actually, let me go ahead and put on my taxi light here, and we'll go ahead and turn off our dome light up here. Let's go ahead and get on our way. since there's not really any significant weather, we won't be using the weather radar. We'll just be using our TCAS, and also be using the ground proximity warning system as well. Since you guys can see there's some hills all around us on departure, we want to be as safe as possible. That said, since our TCAS test is working, we'll go ahead and put on our TCAS. It's Delta and JetBlue over there, and it looks like we got some Southwest aircraft ahead of us. Alright, so once again, we're going to follow Mike straight on down to Bravo. Looks like we're on Mike right now. And we'll continue to follow Mike on down until we see Bravo. Looks like there was Alpha. We're gonna go ahead and pass it and just take ourselves on down to Bravo. Look on out there in the distance, you can see there's Bravo coming up, so make sure that we're ready for that when we get there. Alright, so here we are coming up on Bravo. Shot it just a little bit. Looks like there's Hotel. Hotel should swing us out and across the runway before we cross. Let's go ahead and take a look out of the right hand side of the aircraft. Doesn't look like there's any traffic. We'll turn on strobes anyways just to be safe. These click spots are kind of hard in the dark. And we'll go ahead and cross Hotel. Alright, so Hotel is going to take us pretty much across both of these runways in a kind of diagonal fashion. Just got to be careful to stay on Hotel. It's a little bit dim, but I think I can see it okay. And we'll go ahead and keep our strobes on as we're crossing both of these runways until we pass one right. Look out again. I don't see any traffic, so we'll continue. I'll do it a little bit faster so we can get off of this runway as quickly as possible. It does not seem to be active right now, but without HEC to look out for us, I don't want to take any chances. Right, and then here is Lima coming up, so we're going to go ahead and turn on Lima here. Here we are on Lima. So now that we're here, we'll go ahead and turn off our strobes, and we'll continue on our taxi here, Lima. Alright, and we know that next up we'll be taking Lima to Foxtrot. So we're going to be having a right turn coming up here very soon. If you guys look, there's actually a split, so Lima will continue to go straight and Foxtrot will go off to the right. So it looks like here we are now. Go ahead and make our right turn on a Foxtrot. This is a tricky little taxi, isn't it? Alright, and then if we also look, you see that Foxtrot kind of branches off to the right. So we're going to follow this right taxiway right here, which should continue to be Foxtrot. Alright, woo, that was tricky. So we're pretty much home free now. And we'll wait until we get a little bit closer to the runway to call for departure. With that said, TCAS is already on. We'll go ahead and also put on our terrain. And just to be safe on the co-pilot side, go ahead and put on weather radar, just in case. Even though it doesn't look as though there's any sort of significant weather, nor today to say that, but you know, might as well just monitor both. Alright, so here we are. We're coming up to 28 left, which is going to be our departure runway. You guys can see there's a nice little line of traffic there. It looks like they're all going for 28 right. And go ahead and call up the tower and ask them if it's okay for us to take off. Rate my landing. Air Canada, your landing was kind of rough there, buddy.
Southwest 1049, wind 256 at 16, clear to land runway 28, right, follow Airbus D320 on the runway, caution that Airbus D319, landing runway 28, left. Clear to land, runway 28, right, Southwest 1049.
Oh, look, we did have some traffic on 28 left. Rate my landing, a little bit tough too.
San Francisco Tower, United 739er, net runway 28, left, ready for takeoff via Park to Los Angeles. United 739, hold short, runway 28, left, traffic is Airbus D319 on the runway. Hold short, runway 28, left.
Alright, so while we're holding short, we'll take a quick look at our chart here, and we'll go ahead and for 28 right, we'll set our course heading to 284.
Air Canada 759, contact ground on 1218. Traffic 560, contact ground on 1218. United 739, cleared for takeoff, runway 28, left, service wind 256 at 16. Cleared for takeoff.
Alright, we still have a 16 knot headwind from the left with a little bit of a crosswind, so that will definitely be something to look out for. Go ahead and put on our runway turn-off lights. We'll start to take the active. And we'll go ahead and put on our landing lights, and I will announce to the cabin. We'll stop here real quickly. Just going to confirm that you're on the right runway. We are. Our heading checks out, and we will go ahead and get the party started. So with that said, our engines are already at 40. Looks as though they check out. Everything looks good to go. We'll go ahead and put ourselves into toga and get on our merry little way. Alright, here we go. And toga. We're rotating at 139. Come.
V1.
V1.
Rotate. V2.
Oof. Yep, that headwind's got us. That headwind has kind of got us. Positive rate of climb, gear up. And we're going to try to climb as quickly as possible. And we'll go ahead and start our turn here. And we're still not flying on autopilot. Just going to manually take this turn. Kind of narrow out here. Bring up flaps to flaps 2. Want to make sure that we make this turn in time. Steepen up our turn just a little bit more. Yeah. I'm going to switch over, buddy. Alright. And our turn's pretty much complete, so we'll go ahead and put on VNAV and LNAV, and we'll put on our autopilot. Go flaps 1. As we're climbing out 4,000 feet, we clean up the aircraft. So, go flaps all the way up, turn off our auto brake, go ahead and stow our gear. Also go ahead and come up here and I will turn off our retractable gear lights, turn off our taxi lights, runway turn-offs, and we'll go ahead and make our engines off of continuous ignition. Alright, well, it looks as though we made that turn. Got as close to the procedure as we could by hand, while maintaining a good climb rate and not waking anybody up. As we look out the window, we see Orbx is beautiful in Northern California down below. And looks like we got clear skies ahead, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the flight as we continue on our departure on down to KLAX. So here we are, we're up at our cruising altitude because we are having such a short haul. We're going to go ahead and start setting up our approach right now. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll listen to Addons down there at KLAX and just make sure that our weather is still what we're expecting it to be.
Kilo, Lima, Alpha, X-ray, airport information. Kilo, 0353, Zulu, weather, wind, 238 at 9, visibility, 10, sky condition, few clouds at 1,300, temperature, 212.18, altimeter, 3001. Advise on initial contact, you have information. Kilo, Lima, Alpha, X-ray, airport information. Kilo, 0353, Zulu, weather, wind, 238 at 9, visibility, 10, sky condition, few clouds.
Alright, so it sounds like wind is coming pretty much a little bit from the southeast. I'm sorry, from the southwest, 238. So let's go ahead and take a look at what our flight plan calls for. Our flight plan is saying that it wants us to arrive 25 right. So that actually sounds correct considering where the winds are coming from. So let's go ahead and take a look at our approaches for 25 right. So if we close all this up, close up our terminal, close up general and SID, we'll take a look at our stars for 25 right, and according to our flight plan, it wants us to come in using the SAD 6 approach with the AV transition. So let's take a look at the approach, the SAD 6 approach, or SAD 6. So we obviously know we're going to be coming from the north, so we're going to be wanting to arrive here. Obviously we're going to be taking 25, which is going to be heading out here to the southwest, and we're going to be taking the SAD 6, and once again it has us using the AB transition. So alright, let's go ahead and plug it in. Everything looks relatively good. There's our AB transition. We take the SAD 6 on straight in to 25 right. So it looks like it's actually going to take us behind the airport a little bit, and then we'll catch the runway 25 right. Let's just look at this one more time. Yep, sounds good. So let's go ahead and take a look at our FMC, and we'll set things up there. Alright, so go to arrivals. We're going to go ahead and say 25 right. We'll be using the SATA 6, the AB transition. Let's go ahead and check for any discontinuities. So we're going to take this AB and plug it in here. And let's see if there's any other discontinuities. So shell is a discontinuity. And we want to make sure that everything checks out on our flight plan. So let's go ahead and click on over here to plan. We'll go through all our steps. So there we go. There's eBay that we're coming up on. And then we'll step on over to AB. Right as we keep on coming down, we're just going to swing us right behind the airport, and we're going to turn to runway localizer. Alright, looks good to me. So I know that I did have a problem with our approach speed here, Simon, so we're just going to go ahead and take that down, because it looks like before we're going to be at 258, so we'll go ahead and take that down to 258, and then we'll maintain the altitude at 14732. There we go. Alright, and that should clear that problem. Let's go ahead and go back over to our map page, and let's go ahead and set up some of our landing parameters here. So first of all, we'll want to select our go-around altitude. So to do that, we'll go ahead and switch this on over to radio. We'll take a quick look at what our runway looks like, and so to do that, we'll go on over to terminal 25 right. And it looks as though go-around altitude for us will be, for the localizer, or I'm sorry, not go-around, the decision altitude, I'm sorry, will be, we'll call it 560. So cool, we'll call it 560. Let's go ahead and program that on in. Alright, so 560. And that sounds like there's some clouds down there, so to be able to deal with that, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll set up our HGS, our heads-up guidance display, and we will make sure that that is ready to bring us on in, should it be that we do indeed need to use it in case visibility is very bad. The one other thing that I'll look at here is what our approach altitude will be. And if we look back at the star and we look at the SATA 6, it looks as though our approach altitude, oh, I'm sorry, not the SATA 6, I apologize. We want to be looking at 25 right, localizer itself. And it looks as though we want to enter the pattern at 5,000 at fault. Now, I don't actually see fault here on our flight plan, I believe. Looks like it goes from JAVC to shell. So what we will do is we'll go ahead and just assume shell, which is supposed to be at 3,700, and according to our flight plan here, it's 3,700 or above. So let's just go ahead and plug that on in. $3,700 or above. Good. And what we'll go ahead and do now is make sure that landing altitude is set correctly, which it is. Actually, the elevation of the airport, the runway itself is 96, so I guess we could just leave it, but we'll set it up to 100. And then what we'll go ahead and do now is go ahead and program our HGS. And let's go ahead and come on down here. And so mode PRI is fine, standby A3 arm. Runway elevation, we'll call 96. Do that. And then we want to look at our runway length. Now this is going to be in feet, and if you look here, we're 3393 meters. It doesn't look as though it gives us a feet marker, so we'll just go ahead and use the Great Steam overlay here, and we'll just do a meters to feet conversion, and we want to convert 3393 to feet, which is call it 11132. That's what we'll do here. 11132. Enter that, and our glide slope is indeed on a 3-degree slope, I believe. And yep, yeah, it is a 3-degree slope. So we'll go ahead and leave that there. Alright, so good. So our HGS is all programmed now. And go ahead and come back up here. And so everything looks good. So we've got our decision altitude. We'll be programming our go-around altitude when we get a little bit closer. The runway is very long, so we'll go ahead and put on auto brakes to 2. Our HGS is set up, and we'll just go ahead and look at our frequencies, which is 111.10. So let's go ahead and set that up with the localizer. We'll tune it in a second as well. Alright, so that looks good to go. And then last but not least, our course is 249. So 249. Actually, we're into our FMC here. It's 250, so we'll take it up 1 more degree. Alright, so we are pretty much all set to go. Looks as though we're about 20 miles out from our top of descent. Our descent profile is already programmed on in, so it looks like we're pretty much good to go. So I'll see you guys a little bit closer to the airport as we're going through our descent. So here we are, about to make our final turn in a moment here for our approach into KLAX. If you actually look just over the glare shield here, you can actually see the airport right there off our nose. And we're going to be coming in using a right traffic pattern. And we'll be finally turning base and then final up here when we get on over to shell. So our left display is set to terrain. Our display still has weather on. What we are going to do is we're going to come on over here and just switch this on over to approach, so that when we finally do get ourselves established, we can see where the localizer in ourselves. Now it's telling us that our EFIS mode and nav frequency disagrees. Let's figure out what that's about. 110. Oh, we forgot to switch these over, so that'll do it to you. And switch this over as well. That should clear that error. All right. So there we go. Now we're ready for our approach, and just check weather one more time as we approach ourselves here.
Kilo Lima Alpha X-ray airport information Oscar 0353 Zulu weather wind 221 at night visibility 10 sky condition few clouds at 1300 temperature 21 dew point Kilo Lima Alpha X-ray airport information Oscar 0353 Zulu weather wind 238 at night visibility 10 sky condition few clouds at 1300 temperature 21 dew point 18 altimeter 3001 advise on initial contact you have information Kilo Lima Alpha X-ray airport information Papa.
Looks as though our altimeter is 3001. We have a few clouds at around 1300 feet, and now that we have broken 10,000 feet, we'll go ahead and put on our landing lights, our logo lights, make sure they're back on, our strobes are on, and anti-collision's on, and all that stuff looks good. So we'll also go ahead and switch our engines on over to continuous ignition, and we'll go ahead and tell the cabin to button everybody back in. Fasten seatbelt signs are on, anti-ice is off, landing altitude is set, packs look good to go, fasten seatbelt signs are on, ignition is set, and we'll also go ahead and turn on our runway turn-offs now, just because we're entering a very densely popular traffic area. Alright, and our autopilot set, our approach altitude is set, and let's just take another quick look here at our chart as we prepare. And what we're going to look at is what our go-around altitude will be, and our go-around altitude will be 2,000, so as we get closer on down to the airport, we'll be sure to set that. We're also going to go ahead and set our approach speeds, and we're going to take a flap 30 landing, as it is a little bit on the gusty side. We want to give ourselves a little bit extra room there, because if you were to set it all the way down to 40, if you were to get a gust that creates a tailwind, or suddenly wind becomes still, you can find yourself stalling out on approach, so obviously you don't want that to happen. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put in flaps 2 right now as well as deploy our speed brakes. Slow ourselves down here. Auto brakes are set. Our HGS is set. And we look good to go. Let's bring in our display here a little bit more. Flaps will come up to 2. Go ahead and take back in our speed brakes. And we'll go ahead and deploy our retractable lights as well. We'll go ahead and give ourselves flaps 5 now, as we are within the limits. And looks like we're still a little bit hot. Our speed's coming down appropriately, so we'll be okay. Alright, everything looks good to me. There's the beautiful city of Los Angeles out there. And, let's take a quick look over here on the first officer side. Alright. Here comes our next turn. Go ahead and give ourselves some more speed brakes here. Wait for ourselves to intercept the localizer. Here we go, we're starting our turn now. You can see the glide slope has come alive. And you can see we're quickly capturing the glide slope. Go ahead and give ourselves flaps 10 now. As soon as we're done with this turn, we'll go ahead and deploy our gear. bring us on down to 2,000 feet. And we'll keep that as our go-around altitude. Put vertical speed in at 1,000 feet per minute. And actually, we'll up it to 1,500. Alright. And go ahead and give ourselves gear. There's our gear warning. Go ahead and arm our localizer here. And our glide slope slowly catching up. Almost there, almost there. Alright, we can go ahead and on our approach. We will wait for the glide slope to capture.
2,500.
And looks as though it has now. Go around, altitude is set, gears down. Bring ourselves down to 25 flaps. Now that our glide slope has been captured, we'll go ahead and put on our Command B autopilot. And we'll go ahead and go flaps 30, landing flaps. Now our landing ref is 145. Consider we have a 5-knot headwind. Go ahead and give ourselves 45 plus 5 for our final approach speed. Should be 150. Take a look at our HGS here. Just to verify it is working, but it looks as though it's clear enough, so we should not be needing it. And go ahead and stow it back away. Alright, looks good to me. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to go ahead and get ready for a manual landing here. And we've got auto brake set, we've got our landing light set, we've got our gear down. We're going to go ahead and arm our spoilers. And it looks like we're pretty much good to go. So let's go ahead and land. There we go, the airport just loaded. It always creates a little bit of a stutter, but looks as though it's loaded now. Uh-oh, I think we may have traffic on the runway. Hopefully they get out of the way in time.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
There we are, minimums, and we'll continue with landing. Yep, there goes that traffic. There's definitely traffic on the runway. Sorry, we're just going to go ahead and overshoot them.
100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
Alright, and 90 knots, 80, 70, 60, there we go. Go ahead and disengage our reversers. Auto throttle has already been turned off. We'll turn off our auto brakes, and we'll take this next turn off here. And we'll call for ground to get ourselves on over to a gate. go ahead and turn off our landing lights, turn on our taxi lights, and we'll start up our APU. And we'll go ahead and hold short here. Go ahead and also turn off our strobes. And let's see what ground wants to give us in terms of parking.
Los Angeles ground, United 739er, request taxi to the gate. United 739er, taxi to gate 009er, to taxiway Bravo, Sierra, Charlie, Romeo, Echo, Echo 15. Taxiing to gate 209er, using taxiway Bravo, Sierra, Charlie, Romeo, Echo, Echo 15. United 739er.
Alright, so it looks like we're going to gate 209 via taxiway Bravo Sierra, so we're on Bravo right now. We're over here by November. So if we take a look, 25 right, Bravo, and November is up here, so it looks like we turned off on Mike. So to get up to Sierra, we're going to take Bravo on up to Sierra will be right here. And then from Sierra, we're going to cross to Charlie. So there's Sierra. And where's Charlie? Where's Charlie? Looks like there's Charlie right there. We're going to take Charlie. Looks like we're going to backtrack down on... I'm sorry, no, actually we're going to be making a left on Charlie. So that's Charlie. We're going to take Sierra to Charlie. And then Romeo. We're going to take Romeo across to Echo. And then Echo 15. So we're going to end up parking somewhere about here. Let's take a look at what the gates look like. Gate 209. It's going to put us in a weird parking position. So if we look at 209, we're probably going to be at the west gates. Anyways, let's get on our taxiing. So yeah, here we go. So 209 is over here. They put us in a really weird spot. There's 209. Alright, whatever. We'll take it. Let's go and clean up the aircraft now. So our auto brakes are off. We'll go ahead and take off our TCAS. And remove TCAS from here. Know that our auto throttle is disengaged. Take off TCAS. There we go. Take off terrain. And we'll go ahead and clean ourselves up over on this side as well. So take off TCAS and we'll take off WXR. Alright. And then here comes Sierra. So here's Sierra. And then after Sierra, I believe we said we're going to be making a left onto Charlie, right? Here we go. Here's Sierra. For some traffic, we're good to go. Making a left on Charlie. And then from Charlie, we're going to be making a right on Romeo, a left on Echo, going up to Echo 15. Where's parking space 209? Let's tell GSX that we're coming. And west remote is where we're going to be. Yeah, they got us in the remote parking. 209. And I do not need to follow me. Lift handling operator United. Right. Let's just lag a little bit while GSX loads in. Alright, here is Romeo now. We're going to take Romeo on down to Echo. Because we didn't follow ATC the whole way here. They don't like us too much. So some American and US Airways aircraft over there. The new American's livery. Airbuses. And talk about a commute to the terminal. Our passengers are going to have to go quite some ways to their baggage. And so we're on Romeo now from Romeo, we're just going to be taking Echo. Alright, so Romeo, left on Echo, Echo 15. West gates once again. There's Echo. Echo 15 will be turn after Alpha Alpha, it looks like. Alright, looks like that is the parking that we're heading to over there. They really put us in the boonies. Hopefully we're going the right way to begin with. Let's make sure. Oh, yeah, there's Echo 14, there's Alpha Alpha, and then Echo 15 should be right after. There we go. Alright, cool. Yeah, we're on the right track. Make sure that our APU's on and running. It is. Our lights are all appropriately set. We're all cleaned up. I guess we can take off the flight director now as well. Everything else about us is cleaned up.
Los Angeles route, American 185, taxi indicated. American 185, taxi to 220, heading taxiway Yankee, Sierra, Charlie, Charlie.
Once we turn onto Go 15, 209 will be the first to our right. So, definitely never parked over here in the west parking before. It's obviously very remote. Let's see, so here's Echo 15. We're going to go ahead and pull our thrust back a little bit as we try to figure out where we're going. So that's probably Echo 15 over there. Let's slowly take our way on in here so that we don't get lost. Overshoot our gate. It's 218. It's 209, which is where we're going. So turn here onto 209. And I guess we're parking right here between all this ground crew. So, oh wait, no, that's our marshaller right there. So slowly this on in, just to go to the left a little bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn off our taxi lights so we don't blind this dude, because we want him to do a good job of telling us what we're doing here. A little bit more to the left, a little bit more to the left. Should correct it. And that's probably it. Happy with that? No? You want some more? No, you're good. Okay. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and put that parking brake on. Parking brake is on. We're going to go ahead and put on our dome light. And we'll go ahead and put on our APU gens. Alright. And everything else looks good, so we should be good to go to cut the engines. So we will cut 1, and then we'll cut 2. And we'll turn these back to off. We're a little bit to the right in the skew. Alright, we can turn off our runway turn-off lights. And go ahead and put off our anti-collisions. We'll leave our nav lights on, our logo lights, and we'll go ahead and tell our passengers they can unbuckle themselves. Tell the crew that as well. We'll go ahead and turn off our IRS, and we'll turn off our probe heat and our window heat. Leave our recirculating fans on, and we will kill our packs. Open back up our ISO valve, and we can go ahead and kill our electric man pumps and our fuel pumps, except for the forward left, and let's tell them to hook us up. Wheel chock's on, ground power is on, air conditioning is on, And let's tell GSX to deboard us here. And request deboarding. Alright, and we'll go ahead and open up our doors here. We'll wait for our crew to start moving. And cargo doors are open. Go ahead and open up the left entry. And sounds like our people are deboarding. So, alright guys, well, hope you enjoyed that. It was definitely a little bit of a tricky approach here. Definitely two challenging taxis, taxiing both out of KSFO and KLAX. But overall, I think it was a pretty successful flight. So, thank you guys so much for joining once again. And soon enough, we'll be heading on over to Sydney. Alright everybody, take care.